Hi there. Okay, today we're going to work on a split letter, but instead of splitting it and moving it apart, which I feel distorts the letter, we're going to do what I call the subtract method. Okay, so here we go. Start with a blank document. Go over here to your left side, click on the text tool. Go over here on the right side to the text style window. Select your font, and I'm going to use Regal. Click on your workspace, type in your letter. I click off, I click back on it, and I use the corner and I resize it. And you want to resize it to the size that you want it to be for your final project. So I'm just gonna guess today. So here we go. Now that we have our letter sized the size that we want it when it's completely done, we're gonna go over here to the left side, select the rectangle tool, draw out a rectangle in the size that you want it, however thin or thick you want it. There's no set rule. You also want to make sure that you make it as wide as the letter, if not wider, just to make sure that when we do the subtract, it will subtract everything within the rectangle space. You don't want to leave out any parts. So I'm just going to use this here, and then you want to place it wherever on the letter that you want the split to be, because once you do the subtract method, it's kind of a done deal. So I'm going to place mine right here. Then use your mouse, select both parts, the letter and the rectangle, go up to the top, object, modify, subtract, and wait for the subtraction to happen. It will take a while sometimes. It just depends on your letter, depends on how big you made your letter, and depends on the font that you use. Sometimes it's really quick, other times it's not. And this one, I'm afraid it's probably going to take a while. So we'll wait for that to happen. Okay, so the subtraction finally happened. It took a little bit of time. Now what I do is I like to group it all, because as you can see, when the subtraction happened, it made all the pieces individual. So like you can move all these pieces now, and you don't want to accidentally move something. So let's put these back and draw a square around all of it. Right click, group. Now we want to create the bars that go across the edge of each half. So on your left side, rectangle tool again, draw a rectangle however thin or thick you want it and however long you want it. So I will do mine about there. And then to make a duplicate for this bottom half, instead of drawing it out again, if you press your Option key, you'll see the mouse change to that little arrow with the plus sign. Click on that rectangle and drag down, and it creates a duplicate. Now what I do is I select both rectangles, so hold your Shift key and select the first rectangle. Now you have both of them selected. Go to the top right hand side to the Align window, and we're going to line those up to make sure that they're both exactly the same. And then we want to center it on the letter as well. So now hold your shift key and select somewhere on that letter. Now you can see the whole thing is selected. Now at the align window again, click align center and it'll center everything up for you. Now while it's still all selected, right click, click weld. And it'll take a moment sometimes. So it welded it. As you can see, the bar is now part of the letter design, but it also created boxes around everything because it individualized everything again. So all of these are pieces on their own now. So again, you want to, while it was still selected, right click and group again. Now it's one piece. You don't have to worry about splitting it apart and distorting it. Then you'll go back to the text tool on the left side, select your font, whichever one you want, and we will just pick a font here. One of my favorites is Hiatus, so we'll pick Hiatus, and then we will type whatever it is that you want to put in there. Size it to whatever size you want. Now you'll see, let me see if I can come in closer. Okay, can you see where all of these letters, where they're connecting, they're going to cut into each other. So it'll cut it all apart, and you don't want that. So select the word or the letter, and I'm sorry, not the letter. You want to select the word or the name, whatever it is that you're putting there. And you want to right click, weld, and see it took all those little pieces away. It welded it all together so it would cut in one piece. But parts of it are separated still, like the dot on the I, my A is separated from the W, my O is separated from the T, which is fine for me. But I don't want everything to be separated as a word, you know, as a file or whatever. So what I like to do then is group all that together. And sometimes I'll even come over here and I will move things around a little bit, and then I'll do a weld again. That way it's truly one piece. So hold down the shift key, select all of it, right click, and weld. And now I have one piece. Well, I guess I didn't quite get the dotted I in there, but that's okay. So while it's all still selected, we want to right click. I'm sorry, I need to get that I. There we go. We want to right click and click group. That way now it's all one piece. Let me go back out here. And what I also like to do, so I can see how things will look, is I like to go up to the bucket tool on the top right, and I like to make things in different colors so I can see how it's going to look when I actually create the file. And so I just go around and I color everything in. I even go up here to the line color tool and I select this one right here so that the lines are invisible. That way it looks a lot closer to what it will look like when it's actually cut out. So to cut it, since I'm doing different colors, you can't cut it all at once like this because it'll cut into each other. So you can do a couple different things. You can go up here to your cut window up on the top row, the cut style, and right now it's telling it all to cut, but you can select a part of it and tell it to no cut. Then have all of, say, the letter cut, and once you have all that cut out, then select the letter, tell the letter to no cut, select the name or the words, whatever it is that you put there, and tell that to cut, and then send that to the cutter. Or you can just take things off the mat. Cut this first, then when you're done cutting that, move that off the mat and bring your other words on the mat. Depends on my project is, for me, what determines what method I'm gonna use to actually cut. But anyways, there you go. That's a split letter so that it's not distorted, and I hope that helps you. If you have any questions, you're welcome to message me.